Level 1. The Lookout. You are 15 years old. You live in a neighborhood the city forgot. The buildings lean. The streetlights flicker when they work at all. Your mother works 2 jobs and still comes up short. Your father left when you were 6. You barely remember his face. Your younger brother is 11. You raise him more than she does. You make sure he eats before you do. You walk him to school past men already drinking at 9 in the morning. You learn early that money is the only language anyone respects here. Money buys medicine. Money buys safety. Money buys a way out that almost no one ever takes. You start small. You stand on corners. You watch for police cars. You whistle when you see them coming. The older men pay you in folded bills and stale respect. You don't ask what you're guarding. You learn that not asking is the job. You run packages between buildings. You don't open them. You deliver messages you don't understand. You learn the geography of fear. You learn which blocks belong to which men. You learn that everyone here belongs to someone. The neutral kid is the kid who gets robbed. So you attach yourself to the men with the most weight. There is a man named Reyes who runs everything on your side of the avenue. He drives a clean car on a dirty street. He wears a watch worth more than your building. Men open doors for him. Men lower their voices when he passes. Men wait to be spoken to. You decide, without words, that you want to be a man people wait for. You watch him. You study how he walks. You study how a room goes quiet when he enters. You want that. You don't know yet what it costs. Reyes notices the quiet kid who never misses a police car. He starts to nod at you. A small thing. It feels like the sun coming out. You learn to keep your mouth shut. You learn to keep your eyes open. You learn that loyalty is currency, and snitching is a death sentence. You see your first dead body the summer you turn 15. A man you used to buy candy from, slumped in a doorway, eyes open. The block steps around him for a full day before anyone calls it in. You learn that here, a life ends and the corner keeps moving. You file that lesson away without knowing you will need it. One night, you watch 2 men beat a third in an alley. You don't look away. You feel something you can't name. Not fear exactly, something colder. The men notice you didn't flinch. They remember that. In this world, the ones who don't flinch get noticed. You are noticed now. Level 2. The Collector. Reyes is the one who calls you up. He remembers the kid who didn't flinch. You're 18 now. Bigger. Harder. He gives you a real job. You collect. People in the neighborhood borrow money they can't pay back. Someone has to remind them. That someone is you. You knock on doors. You stand in doorways and let your silence do the talking. Most people pay. Fear is efficient. Some people don't. Those are the ones who teach you the next lesson. There is an old man who borrowed money for his wife's surgery. You stand in his kitchen while he counts coins onto the table. He is short. He is always short. Reyes says, the debt is the debt. He says a man's reasons are not your problem. You take what the old man has and tell him the rest is due Friday. You drive away, and you do not let yourself think about the wife. You are learning to put people in a box and close the lid. One man swings at you in his own hallway. You put him on the floor before you decide to. Your body knew the move before your mind did. You realize you are good at this, in a way that scares you. You learn that a threat only works if you're willing to follow through. The first time you break a man's hand, you throw up afterward. The second time, you don't. You tell yourself it's just business. You tell yourself they knew the risk. You learn to compartmentalize, a word you don't know, but a skill you're mastering. You carry a piece now. You don't use it. The weight of it in your waistband says enough. Your brother is 14 and starting to ask where the money comes from. You lie to him. You tell him you work security. He starts wearing his cap the way you wear yours. He starts repeating things he hears on the block. You tell him to stay in school. He laughs at you. You see yourself in that laugh, and it frightens you. You give your mother cash and call it a warehouse job. She doesn't ask. She's learned not to ask. You move up because you're reliable. You show up. You don't skim. You don't talk. The bosses value that more than they value talent. Talent is everywhere. Trust is rare. You are 18 and you already understand things grown men never learn. You learn that the body adjusts to almost anything if you give it time. You become the man they send when a message needs to be physical. You build a reputation as someone who doesn't hesitate. That reputation is about to be tested in a way you can't undo. Level 3. The First Job. It comes the way these things always come. Quietly. Reyes pulls you aside in the back of the bar he owns. He tells you a man has become a problem. He tells you the man talked to the wrong people. He tells you the man needs to disappear. He doesn't say the word. He never says the word. He just looks at you and waits. You understand what's being asked. You also understand what saying no would mean. There is no version of this where you walk away clean. A man who refuses Reyes does not get a second offer. He gets a problem of his own. You say yes. You spend 3 days following the man. You learn his routine. When he leaves, when he comes home, where he parks. You sit in a borrowed car and watch him kiss his wife goodbye each morning. You watch him carry groceries up 3 flights of stairs. You start to know him better than his own friends do. The man has a wife. The man buys bread on Tuesdays. You hate that you know his bread. You feel sick the whole time. You also feel something else. Important. Chosen. The night it happens, your hands shake. You almost don't. But you think about your brother, your mother, the life you can't go back to. You think about the watch Reyes wears. You do it. It is fast, and it is ugly, and it is nothing like the movies. Afterward, you sit in your car for an hour, unable to move. You cross a line that has no return. You are not the person you were that morning. You will never be that person again. Reyes pays you more than you've ever held in your hands. He pats your shoulder. He tells you that you're family now. You go home and shower for 40 minutes. You can't get clean. Some part of you understands that you never will. You don't sleep that night. You stare at the ceiling. You wait for guilt that comes in a shape you didn't expect. It isn't loud. It's quiet. It just sits there. You learn that the hardest part is not the act. The hardest part is the ordinary days that come after. You buy coffee. You pay rent. You laugh at a joke you don't find funny. And the whole time, the dead man rides along behind your eyes. It is still sitting there years later. Level 4. The Contractor. The organization stops using you for collections. You've shown you can do the other thing. The thing most men can't. They start sending you for it specifically. You're a contractor now, a specialist. You learn the craft because amateurs get caught, and caught men talk. You learn to plan. You study a target long before you ever move. You learn his patterns the way you once learned the blocks of your neighborhood. You learn that the act itself is the easy part. The hard part is everything around it. Getting in, getting out, leaving nothing behind. You learn to be patient. A rushed job is a sloppy job. A sloppy job is a prison cell or a grave. You learn that the best work looks like an accident, a fall, a robbery gone wrong, a car that left the road on a quiet night. You stop using your own car for anything that matters. You stop keeping anything that connects you to anyone. You move through the world like a man erasing his own footprints. Your first independent reputation is built on a job that looks like a heart attack. No one ever opens a file on it. That is the work you take pride in. The work no one ever knows happened. You learn 3 languages of escape: the crowd, the timing, the silence. You change the way you talk. You change the way you dress. You become forgettable on purpose. A face people can't describe an hour later. That blandness is its own kind of armor. You meet a woman during this time. Her name is Elena. She's a nurse at the hospital where your mother finally died of the cough. She held your mother's hand at the end while you stood frozen in the hall. She's kind in a way you'd forgotten people could be. You tell her you're a contractor, which is technically true. You let her believe it means construction. She believes you because she wants to. Elena starts leaving the porch light on when you travel. You memorize that light on the long drives home. It is the only thing that ever made you want to stop. You start to want a life that has nothing to do with the work. You don't know yet that the work doesn't let you go. Your reputation is growing in circles you can't see. Other organizations have heard your name. The phone is about to ring from somewhere new. Level 5. The Freelancer. A man you've never met contacts you through a man you trust. He has work. He's not connected to Reyes. He's something else entirely. He pays in full, up front, no negotiation. You take the job. You take the next one. You realize you don't need the organization anymore. You can work for anyone. You go independent. Reyes does not love it, but Reyes is getting old. This is more dangerous and more profitable. You have no crew watching your back. You also have no crew that can give you up. You are a free agent in a business built on secrets. You build a system. You never meet clients in person if you can avoid it. You use intermediaries. You use dead drops. You use phones you destroy after a single use. You take half up front and half on completion. Always. You never ask why. The why is the client's business. The how is yours. You develop rituals. You never work hungry. You never work angry. You never let a job feel personal, because personal is how men get sloppy. You walk through every plan backward, then forward, then backward again. You picture every way it can go wrong. You plan for the gun that jams and the witness who appears. Most of the time, nothing goes wrong, because you already lived it 100 times in your head. You learn the value of saying almost nothing. A man who talks is a man who hangs himself eventually. You learn to live on cash and patience. You learn that the rich are the easiest clients and the most dangerous. They believe their money makes them untouchable. They are wrong, and sometimes you are the reason. You marry Elena. You stand at an altar and promise to be a good husband. You mean it. She thinks she's marrying a man who pours concrete and travels for jobs. She's half right. You do travel for jobs. You buy a small house in a quiet town 2 hours from where you grew up. It has a yard. It has a porch. It is everything the leaning building never was. You become 2 people. The man who mows the lawn on Sunday. the man who flies to a city he'll never name. You take a job in a city by the ocean. You spend 2 weeks pretending to be a tourist who likes long walks. You finish the work and fly home and carry Elena's groceries up the steps. She never asks where the tan came from. You hold both, barely. Elena tells you she's pregnant. You feel joy and terror in the same breath. You wonder what kind of father a man like you can be. Level 6. The Professional. Your daughter is born on a cold morning in March. You name her Sophia. You hold her in the hospital, and your hands shake the way they did the first time. But for a different reason. You promise yourself she will never know. You promise it to her sleeping face like a prayer. You become more careful than you've ever been. You're a professional now, in the truest sense. You turn down work that doesn't make sense. You turn down anything that smells like a setup. You learn to read a job offer the way you read a target. You learn that the most dangerous client is the one who pays too easily. You raise your prices. You can afford to be selective. Your reputation now does the work your fists once did. People know what you are without ever seeing it. You operate across the country, sometimes across borders. You work for organizations, for businessmen, for men who would never call themselves criminals. A campaign donor with a witness problem. A developer with a partner who won't sell. You learn that the line between the legal world and your world is thinner than anyone admits. Powerful men need things done. They just don't want their hands dirty. That's what you're for. You tell yourself you are just the tool. A tool doesn't choose. A tool doesn't carry guilt. It is the most comforting lie you ever told, and the one you believe least. You watch Sophia grow. You teach her to ride a bike in the quiet street outside the house. You coach her t-ball team one spring because no other parent will. The other fathers shake your hand and have no idea who you are. You like those mornings more than any money you ever made. They are the closest you ever come to being just a man. You go to her recitals. You sit in the audience next to Elena and clap like any other father. Then you fly out the next morning and become the other man. The compartments hold, most days. There is one job you take that you wish you hadn't. The target is younger than you expected. You do it anyway because half the money is already gone. You stop sleeping right for a month. The work gets cleaner and the nights get longer. You start drinking 1 glass of something to fall asleep, then 2. You stop before it becomes a third habit you can't control. Some nights you wake and walk the house, checking the locks, watching a street where nothing moves. Elena asks what's wrong. You tell her you heard a noise. You always heard a noise. Level 7. The Fixer. A job in another city nearly ends you. The target had protection you didn't know about. You walked into a room that was supposed to be empty, and it wasn't. There were 2 men and a gun already drawn. You got out, but you left something behind. A description. A near miss that should have been a coffin. You're not burned, but you're known. Being known is the beginning of the end for a man in your line. You are also 40 now. Your knees ache. Your reflexes are a half second slower than they were. Half a second is the whole game. The smart move is to stop doing it yourself. So you become the man who arranges it. A fixer. You have the contacts. You have the reputation. You have a decade of knowing who is reliable and who gets people caught. Men come to you with problems. You find the right man for the problem. You take a cut and you never touch the thing itself. You're insulated now. Layers between you and the act. This is how men in your business survive long enough to get old. You move your meetings constantly. You never sit with your back to a door. You learned that as a boy, and you will die believing it. Old habits are the only thing in this life that ever kept their promises. You train younger men the way no one trained you. You teach them patience. You teach them to plan. You teach them to be forgettable. You teach them that the work they think makes them powerful will hollow them out. You build a list in your head of who is steady and who will break. You are almost always right. Reading men is the only skill that ever truly kept you alive. You teach a younger man named Diego everything you know. He is talented and impatient. The worst combination. You warn him. He nods. He does not hear you. You will read about him in the news 2 years later. They don't listen. You didn't listen either. You watch some of them get caught. You watch some of them disappear. You feel less than you should. You noticed that about yourself a long time ago. Sophia is 14 now. She started looking at you differently. Teenagers see things. She finds a phone you forgot to destroy. She doesn't understand what it means, only that it doesn't fit. She asks you once what you really do. You lie to her face. She knows you're lying. Something changes in the house after that. The distance starts as a crack and becomes a wall. Level 8. The Broker. You're not just fixing local problems anymore. Your network has grown beyond anything you planned. You connect people across cities, across states, across countries. A cartel in the South needs something handled in the North. A businessman overseas needs a problem solved here. You are the man who knows the man. You sit at the center of a web of violence you almost never have to touch. Your hands stay clean while your name moves through rooms you'll never enter. You manage dozens of relationships. You manage egos and debts and grudges between men who would kill each other given the chance. You are part diplomat now. You negotiate. You keep the peace because peace is good for business. You learn that the bigger the operation, the more it runs on trust. Violence is what you use only when trust fails. You spend your days now on phones and in quiet meetings in quiet rooms. You are a businessman whose business is other men's worst days. War draws attention. Attention draws the kind of people with badges and warrants. You have relationships with some of those people too. A detective who looks the other way. A prosecutor who loses a file. Money moves. Files get lost. Investigations stall. You learn how easy power is to buy once you stop being shocked by the price. A judge has a mortgage. A detective has a daughter applying to college. Everyone has a number, and you learn to find it before you ever finished growing up. You learned long ago that the system has a price, and you can afford it. You're wealthy now in ways the 15-year-old lookout couldn't imagine. You own property under names that aren't yours. You move money through businesses that look ordinary from the street. But the money doesn't fix the thing inside you. It never has. Elena has grown quiet over the years. She's stopped asking questions. You think she's made peace with not knowing. You're wrong. She's made peace with leaving. She tells you one night that she's known for years. Not the details, the shape of it. She tells you she stopped recognizing you a long time ago. Sophia is 17 when they go. She does not say goodbye to you. She takes Sophia and she goes. You don't fight it. You understand. You'd leave you too. You watch the car turn the corner and you do not move for a long time. You sit alone in a house with a yard and a porch, and you understand exactly what you traded. Level 9. The Legend. You've been in this business for almost 40 years. Your name has become something larger than you. Younger men who've never met you speak it like a story. They don't know your face. They know the legend. The man who never got caught. The man who survived when everyone around him fell. You're aware of the legend and you're careful with it. A legend is a target. Prosecutors want your name on an indictment to make their careers. Younger men want your spot. Old enemies have long memories. You have been to more funerals than weddings. You have stopped counting the names. The young ones think the life is a ladder you climb. You know it is a hole you dig, one body at a time, until you are standing in it. So you live small. You live quiet. The man with all that money lives in a modest house and drives an ordinary car. Invisibility is the only luxury that keeps you breathing. You've outlived almost everyone you started with. Reyes, the man who first called you family, died in prison choking on his own lungs. You sent money to his family anyway. You don't know why. Maybe because no one else would. Your brother, the kid you raised, died young. He died in a way you don't talk about. He followed you onto the corner and never found his way back off it. You think that loss is part of why you became what you became. You've never let yourself examine it closely. There isn't anywhere useful that thought can take you. You give a young man money to walk away from the life. He takes the money and stays in the life anyway. You understand. You took the money and stayed too. You keep a photograph of Sophia at 6 in a drawer you rarely open. You open it on the bad nights. You close it before the light comes up. You sleep 4 hours a night. The rest of the time you read. You think. You've read more in these last years than in all the ones before. History. Philosophy. Men who tried to understand why people do the things they do. You're looking for yourself in those pages. You don't find him. You find only the long, quiet record of men convincing themselves that what they did was necessary. You wonder if you still believe that. You try to pray once. You don't have the words for it. You're not sure anyone is listening, and you're not sure you'd want them to be. You're not sure you do anymore. Level 10. The Ghost. You're 62 years old now, and you've been out of the life for almost 6 years. No one fully retires from this business, but you came as close as a man can. You walked away with money no one could trace, and a name no one could prove anything against. You bought a house in a small town where the neighbors think you're a retired contractor, the same lie you've told for 40 years. You spend your mornings in a garden. You grow tomatoes. Your scarred hands, the ones that did all of it, are gentle in the soil. There is something almost funny about that, if you let yourself think about it. You don't often. The past does not announce itself. It arrives quietly, the way the work always did, in the hour before dawn when there is nothing left to distract you. You remember every one of them. You remember the man and his Tuesday bread, the first one, the one who taught you what you were. Men told you that you would forget. They lied, or they were luckier than you. You did not become a man who forgets. You became a man who carries. Sophia is in her late 20s now. She has a child of her own, a boy you have never met and may never meet. She sends a text sometimes, a few careful words, and you answer carefully, aware that every reply is a negotiation. She has every reason to have erased you, and she has chosen, so far, not to. That phrase, so far, is the only thing you have left that feels like hope. You sit on your porch in the evenings and watch the street the way you have watched streets your whole life. You are looking for a threat that has not come and may never come. The garden grows. The tomatoes ripen. You eat alone. The town is quiet at night, the way you always wanted a place to be. No one knocks on your door. No one comes looking. Not yet. And the not yet is how you have measured every year of your life. Somewhere in a neighborhood the city forgot, a 15-year-old boy is standing on a corner. He whistles when the police roll past, and he takes folded bills from men with watches worth more than his building. He thinks the weight is power. He thinks the not flinching is strength. He does not know that the colder you get, the more of yourself you spend, and no one ever gives it back. He will learn. They always do. The question is, what is left of him when the lesson is finally over? The cycle continues.
वीडियोस बनाने हैं, फिल्मोरा है ना।